Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Deep and today in this video we are going to learn about the Super 30 Power BI interview questions. No, it's not Super 30. It's about all Power BI interview questions and answer from scratch to advanced level. It means in this Power BI interview video series, I'm going to explain each and every Power BI interview questions and answers that may or may not an interviewer ask. Yes, you have listened correctly. That may or may not an interviewer ask. Yeah, it's depend upon the interviewer, right? And obviously I'm not the interviewer here, correct? So I can't say these are the particular interview questions the interviewer is going to ask you during the interview process, correct? So what will be the responsibility of us? We should learn each and every interview questions and answer from scratch level, both in theoretically and practically, correct? So that we can give the answers of each and every questions of the interviewer. So why we are waiting for? Let's get started. So let's start. Okay. So the first question is, what is Power BI? So what is Power BI? Power BI is a data analytics tool which is provided by the Microsoft with the help of which we analyze our data and create different interactive and attractive visualizations, charts, report, dashboard for the client or for the end users. Okay, so in short, what is Power BI? Power BI is nothing but it's a data analytics tool with the help of which we analyze our data. Okay, so let's move to the second questions. So why Power BI? That means why we have chosen Power BI as our BI tools. There are so many different reasons are there behind this. Okay, but I have noted some of them. Okay, so let's see what are all those points. So the first point is Power BI is one of the most powerful BI tools in the market right now. Okay, in the market there are so many different BI tools are there, like Power BI, Tableau, SAS, ClickView, Google Data Studio. All these BI tools are there in the market, but as compared to those BI tools, Power BI is one of the most powerful BI tools right now. That's why we have chosen Power BI as our BI tools. Okay, then the next point is it is easy to connect your data. It means we can connect our data easily with the help of Power BI, and we can create different interactive and attractive visualizations from those data. Okay, and apart from that, we have unlimited connectivity. With the help of Power BI, we can connect unlimited different data sources at a time, and we can create different visualizations. Okay, and then the next point is it is easy to learn. As compared to the other BI tools, Power BI, learning of the Power BI is very easy. Okay, then sharing of the report is easy as compared to the others. It means the report that we will generate from the Power BI is easy for us to share with the end user or the other peoples. Okay, but in other BI tools like SAS, ClickView, Google Data Studio, it's little bit difficult as compared to the Power BI. Okay, then the last point says it contains many types of custom visualizations. In Power BI, we have nearly about more than 500 plus different visualizations or charts are there in the marketplace, from where we can easily import those visualizations to Power BI desktop and create different interactive and attractive visualizations. So it is one of the most important reasons why we should choose Power BI, right? Because in other BI tools we don't have that facility. We can create nearly about 20, 30, 35 or more, maximum 50 visualizations, but in Power BI we have by default more than 500 plus charts are there in the marketplace, from where we can directly import and create the charts and the visualizations. Okay, so these are the few reasons why we should choose Power BI. Okay, so let's move to the next questions. What are the different types of data type are there in Power BI? So in Power BI, we have divided the entire data types into 6 different groups. Okay, and those are number data type, text data type, boolean data type, data type, date time, and geographical. Remember, I'm saying it as the group, right? Six different groups. It means inside the groups we have so many different types of data type as well. Like in number data type group, we have three different types of data type are there, and those are decimal number, fixed decimal number, and whole number. These are three different types of data type comes under the number data type. Okay, like this, inside the text data type, boolean data type, data types, date times, and geographical data types contain so many different types of data type as well. Okay. So in short, if anyone asks what are the different types of data types are there in Power BI, then you can say we have so many different types of data types are there in Power BI, but for our convenience, we have subdivided into six different groups, and those are number data type, text data type, boolean data type, data type, date time, and geographical. Okay, so let's move to the next question. What are the different components are there in Power BI? So in Power BI, we have six different types of components are there, and those are Power Query, Power Pivot, Power View, Power BI Desktop, Power Map, and Power BI Service. Okay. So what is Power Query? Most of the time, whenever we will get the data from the end user or the client, most of the time we get those data are in unclean format, right? So to clean the data, we use Power Query because our analysis is done on the only on the clean data, right? So anyhow we have to clean on those unclean data, right? So to cleaning all those unclean data to clean format, we usually take the help of Power Query. Okay, then next is Power Pivot. So in Power Pivot we do the modeling part. Modeling part means, so whenever we will get the data from the end user or the client, it is in the tabular format, right? So to create the visualizations, we have to do the modeling part. It means we have to create the relationship between all those tables. Then only we can do our analysis, right? And that relationship is done with the help of primary key and foreign key concept. So this is called as the data modeling. Okay, creating relationship between different tables. Okay, so this modeling part is done with the help of Power Pivot. All right, then next is Power View. So Power View is used to visualize our data in the chart and the graphical format. Okay, then the next is Power BI Desktop. So Power BI Desktop is a free desktop application that can be installed on your own computer. Okay. So next is Power Map. So Power Map is used to represent your geographical data in map format. Okay. And the last is Power BI Service. So with the help of Power BI Service, we publish our report, whatever report we have created in Power BI Desktop, we publish that report to the powerbi.com or the to the Power BI server. Okay, so basically Power BI service is used to publish our report to the Power BI server. Okay, so let's move to the next questions. So what is the difference between Power Query and Power Pivot? So what is Power Query? Most of the time when we will get the data from our client, we expect those data are in unclean format, right? So to do the analysis on those data, first of all, we have to clean those data. And that cleaning part is done with the help of Power Query. Okay. And what is Power Pivot? Power Pivot is mostly used for data modeling. Okay, what is data modeling? Data modeling means whenever we will get the data from the client, those are in tabular format, right? So we have to create the relationship between those tables using primary key and foreign key concept. Then only we can get the actual analysis from that, right? So we have to create the relationship between those tables, and that is known as data modeling, and that data modeling is done with the help of Power Pivot in Power BI. Okay. Apart from that, in Power Query we use the M function, whereas in Power Pivot we use the Dex function. Okay. So in Power Query we use the M functions, right? So the functions, it means M functions are heavier one. It means it take more memory. Okay. Whereas the Dex function is lightweight functions. It doesn't take more space. It is completely lightweight. So most probably we expect to use the Dex functions as compared to M functions. Okay. So these are three difference between the Power Query and Power Pivot. Alright, then let's move to the next question. What is Dex function? Whenever we are using any functions inside the Power Pivot, it's simply called as the Dex function. That is data analytics expression. Dex means data analytics expression. Okay, and data analytics expression is used for creating expression and formulas. So why we use the Dex? Dex is basically used to create the expression and formulas in Power BI. Okay, and we have subdivided the Dex function into 6 different categories, and those are aggregation function, counting function, logical function, information function, text function, and dat function. Okay, then the next question is, give me some example of Dex function. So in Power BI there are more than 500 plus Dex functions are there, and we have noted down some of the most important and commonly used Dex functions here, and those are average functions, count function, max function, mean function, sum, SumX, top end, add column, accept, group by, lower, replace, round, day, month, year, count x, count a, so many Dex functions are there. Okay, so you can refer those in the Google as well. Okay, so these are some of the mostly common used Dex function. Okay, then the next question is, what is incremental refresh in Power BI? So incremental refresh will allow you to refresh only newly added data. Normally, when we click on the refresh on Power BI, it will load everything. And if you have a big table, it will take long time to refresh, right? So we don't want that. We just want to load the newly added data in the existing data, right? And how we can do that? That is possible with the help of incremental refresh only. Okay, and with the help of incremental refresh you can improve the speed of refresh, right? Because you will add the newly added data only, not the entire data, right? So you can improve the speed of the refresh for long table by using the incremental refresh. This setting will apply once you have published a report to the Power BI server. Okay, only after you publish the report to the Power BI server you can use this incremental refresh. Okay, and remember, incremental refresh will be activated once you have published the report to the Power BI server only. Without publishing the report in the Power BI server, you can't get the options of incremental refresh. Okay, so incremental refresh will allow you to refresh only newly added data in the existing data. So let's move to the next question. What is the difference between the dashboard and report in Power BI? So what is Power BI report? Power BI report is the combination of multiple visual elements, that is chart, text, values, etc. on a page, and that can be interrelated with each other, right? And Power BI report is created using Power BI desktop. Whereas in case of Power BI dashboard, Power BI dashboard are the business key value that can change the business profit and can be glanced at one screen, and Power BI dashboard cannot be created on Power BI desktop level. To create the Power BI dashboard, first of all, we have to publish our Power BI report to the Power BI server. After that, in Power BI server, we can create the Power BI dashboard only, right? Then the next point is Power BI report is fully interactive for users and it can be filtered based on some criteria. Okay, and on the other hand, data visualized in the report can be sliced and diced with the slicer in Power BI report. Okay, but in case of Power BI dashboard, we can't sliced and diced with the help of slicer. Okay, so these are the two main difference between the Power BI report and Power BI dashboard. All right, then let's move to the next question and see what is this. What is core function? Core is a correlations function that provides a correlation between two distinct values ranging from -1 to 1. Okay, that is called as the core function in Power BI. All right, then the next question is how to group different columns in a data set in Power BI. So it can be achieved using the Dex function, that is summarize function, right? So summarize is a Dex function with the help of which we can group different columns in a data set in Power BI. Okay, so let's move to the next question. What is the difference between the sum function and the SumXText function in Power BI? So in case of SumText function, it takes the data of a column and aggregate it and will give the result in the total form. Okay, so it returns the scalar value, that is a single aggregate value. Whereas in case of SumXText function, it returns the sum of an expression evaluation for each row in a table, and it also returns the scalar value, that is a single aggregate value like SumText function. So these 2 points are the common between SumText function and the SumXText function. Okay, so what is the difference between both of them? So in case of SumText function, it work at the columnar level, whereas in case of SumX, it work on the row level. Okay, SumText function do not take any expression, it only take the column name. That is, first of all you have to write the sum and inside the bracket you have to give the column name. So what it will do, SumText function will take the data from that particular column and make the total and give a scalar value, that is a single aggregate value. Okay, but in case of SumX text function, you have to keep the expression inside that function, right? So first of all it will take the table name and after that you have to give the expression to calculate the SumX. Okay, so these are the main difference between the sum and the SumXText function. Okay, so let's move to the next question. What is data alerts or data driven alerts in Power BI? So alert work on data when it is refreshed. It means when data is refreshed in Power BI, it looks for an alert, and if it reaches the alert threshold or the limit that we have been set, then a alert message will be triggered automatically to the users through mail or through a message. Okay, and this is called as a data driven alerts in Power BI. All right, so remember one thing, data driven alert can be set only in the Power BI dashboard. It means whenever we will create a dashboard in the Power BI server, on that only we can apply these data driven alerts. Okay, and how can we do that? First of all, you have to go to the manage alert, then you have to add the rules on that by giving the conditions over there. Okay, so how it will work, whenever our data source will refresh, at that time the data driven alerts will check whether our data has been reached the alert threshold or not, and if it reaches the alert threshold or the limit that we have been set, then the message that we have been given, that message will be automatically triggered to the users by mail or by a pop-up message. Okay, so in this way data driven alerts work on Power BI. All right, so let's move to the next question. What is data source filter in Power BI? So data source filter is a parameter to filter the data before loading into the machine. So if we want to filter our data before loading into the machine, then we have to use the data source filter on that. Okay. So let's move to the next question. What is the difference between the distinct Dex function and the values Dex function? So remember, both the distinct and the values Dex function are same, but only difference is that distinct Dex function calculate the null values, whereas values Dex function will not calculate the null values. Okay. So let's move to the next question. What is the difference between the filter and slicer in Power BI? So the difference between these two is by using the normal filters, user cannot interact with the report. Okay, but with the help of slicer, user can have interaction with the report in Power BI desktop. All right. And apart from that, remember one thing, slicer is also a kind of filter, but a filter will never be a kind of slicer. Alright, it means slicer is also a kind of filter, but not vice versa. Okay, so let's move to the next question. What is what if parameter in Power BI? So when we want to see the visual based on scenario, the best way is to use the what if parameter. Okay, it could help us for forecasting the data and for advanced analytics. All right. For example, if we set up the discount of the product using what if parameter from 1 to 20, then user can change the value that is in between 1 to 20, that is 2, 4, 7, 8, like this, and can see the changes in sales, profit margin, revenue, etc., which will help us for detailed analytics. Okay, let's move to the next question. What is content pack in Power BI? So content pack is nothing but it's a like of zip file, right? Zip file, what is zip file? Inside the zip file we will put so many different data, right? Like that, in content pack in Power BI we told that zip file as the content pack. Okay, and inside the content pack we put the dashboard, report, and the relevant database which can be shared across to the client. It means if we are creating a dashboard, right? So to creating the dashboard, first of all we have to create the report, right? And we need the data source as well. So whenever at the end we send that report or the dashboard to the client, at that time what we have to do, we have to make a content pack. Okay, and inside that we have to put that report and the relevant data source, relevant database and the dashboard at one place. And by making that like the zip file in Power BI, we use the content pack and send that content pack to the client. Okay, so content pack is nothing but it's a zip file where we put the dashboard, report, and the relevant database. Okay, and we send it to the client. All right, so let's move to the next question. What is embedded code in Power BI? So there is a option in Power BI which will generate a link address for the Power BI dashboard, right? And that link can be shared across to the client, and apart from that the web developer can also link that code in their HTML tag, right? So insert embedded code is nothing but it's a link address of your Power BI dashboard which can be shared to the client, right? Then the next question is, what is the language used in Power Query Editor? So the language that is used in Power Query Editor is M language, and M language is case sensitive. Okay, so let's move to the next question. What is filter function in Power BI? So filter function is a function which allow you to manipulate, it means to change the data to create the dynamic calculation in Power BI. That's called as the filter function. Okay, so let's move to the next question. What are the different types of filters in Power BI? So basically in Power BI there are 4 different levels of filters are there, and those are visual level filters, page level filter, report level filter, and drill through. Okay, so where we use the visual level filter to filter the data within a single visualization, we use the visual level filter. Okay, and for filter the data within a particular page in the report, then at that case we use a page level filters. Okay, and the next is report level filters. So to filter the data within all the visualizations and all the pages in that report, we use the report level filter. Okay, and the last is drill through. All right, so these are the 4 different types of filters that we can use in Power BI. All right, let's move to the next question. What is row level security in Power BI? So, row level security restricts the users to view and access the data based on some filters. Okay, it means suppose if we have created a dashboard for a particular organization, okay, for example Mindtree, okay, and it has different departments, right, like finance department, HR department, marketing department, right? And if we have created a dashboard for all these departments, and if we want the finance people can see only the data related to the finance, the HR people can see only related to the data of that HR part, okay, and the marketing people can see the data which are related to the marketing part. Okay, so if we want to restrict the data as per the users, as per the department, right, so in that case we use the row level security in Power BI. Okay, and the most important thing is that to enable row level security, a Power BI Pro subscription account is essential. Okay, without this you can't apply this row level security in Power BI. Okay, then let's move to the next question. What is Power BI Gateway? So when we move our data from on-premises data source to the cloud environment, it needs Power BI Gateway. To move the data from on-premises data source to the cloud environment securely. So the main use of the gateway is to move the data from on-premises data source to the cloud environment securely, right? So when we connect our Power BI desktop with our on-premises data source, and if we do any update in our data, then we have to click on the refresh button, right? So automatically it will refresh in Power BI desktop, and as per the data it will give us the report view, right? But when we publish our report to powerbi.com or the Power BI server, and if we will click on the scheduler option or the refresh option, it will automatically ask to download the gateway, right? Because here in this case the gateway will move the data from on-premises data source to the cloud environment securely, right? So to provide the security, we have to download the Power BI gateway. So the main use of the Power BI gateway is to move the data from on-premises data source to the cloud environment securely. Okay, and the most important thing is that if our data source is in the cloud environment already, then we do not need any Power BI gateway. Why? Because in this scenario we are not taking the data from on-premises data source to cloud. We are directly dealing with the data which is available in the cloud already, right? So in this case we do not need the Power BI gateway. Okay, so I hope you can understand what is Power BI gateway, right? Alright, so let's move to the next question. What is slicer in Power BI? So slicer is one canvas visual filter in Power BI which allow users to filter the data by clicking on the type of data you want. Alright, then let's move to the next question. So what is Power BI service? Power BI service is a cloud-based service which will help us to publish the Power BI report in the Power BI server. Okay, it means developer will develop the report using Power BI desktop. right? And at the end we have to share that report or the dashboard with the client, right? So how can we do that? For that we have to publish the report in the Power BI server, right? And the activity of publishing the Power BI report to the Power BI server is done with the help of Power BI service. So basically Power BI service is a cloud-based service which will allow us to publish the Power BI report to the Power BI server. Alright, then let's move to the next question. Can I export the Power BI report data into any other format like SSRS? It means, can we export the Power BI report data into any other format like Word, Excel, PDF, or CSV? So the answer is no. We can't export the data of each and every component of the report at a time in CSV format or in Excel format. Okay, but yes, we can export the data of a single component or a single visualization at a time in CSV format or in Excel or in Word format. Okay, then the next question is, what is the difference between the measure and calculated column in Power BI? So measure is a calculated value, whereas calculated column is a calculated field. Okay, measure work on the columnar level, whereas calculated column work on row level. Okay, measure is suitable for the numerical value only, whereas in calculated column you can create a calculated column for both the numerical and non-numerical columns. In case of measure, it will not take any space until it has been used. Okay, whereas calculated column will take space when it will be created. Once it will be created, it will start taking the space. Okay, but measure will not take space till and until it has been in used. Then the next question is, what is the difference between group by and summarized function in Power BI? So basically the main use of this group by and summarize function is to extract the data from the table. Okay, this these both functions are used to extract the data from the table. Okay, so here I have written, in case of group by it is used to extract the data from the table, and in case of summarize function as well it is used to extract the data from the table. Okay, so the main use of these two Dex function is same, but in case of group by you can't do implicit calculation, whereas with the help of summarize function you can do implicit calculation. Then the next point is, group by Dex function must use current group function, whereas in case of summarize function you do not need to use any other helping function inside the summarize function. Okay, so these are the few differences between the group by and summarize Dex function in Power BI.